Lesson 34, Adolescence. First, listen and then answer the following question. What do adolescents respect in parents? Parents are often upset when their children praise the homes of their friends and regard it as a slur on their own cooking or cleaning or furniture, and often are foolish enough to let the adolescents see that they are annoyed. They may even accuse them of disloyalty or make some spiteful remark about the friend's parents. Such a loss of dignity and descent into childish behavior on the part of the adults deeply shocks the adolescents and makes them resolve that in future they will not talk to their parents about the places or people they visit. Before very long, the parents will be complaining that the child is so secretive and never tells them anything, but they seldom realize that they have brought this on themselves. Disillusionment with the parents, however good and adequate they may be, both as parents and as individuals, is to some degree inevitable. Most children have such a high ideal of their parents, unless the parents themselves have been unsatisfactory, that it can hardly hope to stand up to a realistic evaluation. Parents would be greatly surprised and deeply touched if they realized how much belief their children usually have in their character and infallibility, and how much this faith means to a child. If parents were prepared for this adolescent reaction and realized that it was a sign that the child was growing up and developing valuable powers of observation and independent judgment, they would not be so hurt and therefore would not drive the child into opposition by resenting and resisting it. The adolescent, with his passion for sincerity, always respects a parent who admits that he is wrong or ignorant, or even that he has been unfair or unjust. What the child cannot forgive is the parent's refusal to admit these charges if the child knows them to be true. Victorian parents believed that they kept their dignity by retreating behind an unreasoning, authoritarian attitude. In fact, they did nothing of the kind, but children were then too cowed to let them know how they really felt. Today, we tend to go to the other extreme, but on the whole, this is a healthier attitude, both for the child and the parent. It is always wiser and safer to face up to reality, however painful it may be at the moment. Doris Odlum, Journey Through Adolescence.
Lesson 35, Space Odyssey. First listen and then answer the following question. When will it be possible for us to think seriously about colonizing Mars? The moon is likely to become the industrial hub of the solar system, supplying the rocket fuel for its ships, easily obtainable from the lunar rocks in the form of liquid oxygen. The reason lies in its gravity. Because the moon has only an 80th of the Earth's mass, it requires 97% less energy to travel the 250,000 miles from the moon to Earth orbit than the 200-mile journey from Earth's surface into orbit. This may sound fantastic, but it is easily calculated. To escape from the Earth in a rocket, one must travel at 7 miles per second. The comparable speed from the moon is only 1.5 miles per second. Because the gravity on the moon's surface is only a sixth of Earth's, remember how easily the Apollo astronauts bounded along? It takes much less energy to accelerate to that 1.5 miles per second than it does on Earth. Moon dwellers will be able to fly in space at only 3% of the cost of similar journeys by their terrestrial cousins. Arthur C. Clarke once suggested a revolutionary idea passes through 3 phases. 1. It's impossible. Don't waste my time. 2. It's possible, but not worth doing. 3. I said it was a good idea all along. The idea of colonizing Mars, a world 160 times more distant than the moon, will move decisively from the 2nd phase to the 3rd, when a significant number of people are living permanently in space. Mars has an extraordinary fascination for would-be voyagers. America, Russia, and Europe are filled with enthusiasts, many of them serious and senior scientists who dream of sending people to it. Their aim is understandable. It is the one world in the solar system that is most like the Earth. It is a world of red sandy deserts, hence its name, the Red Planet. Cloudless skies, savage sandstorms, chasms wider than the Grand Canyon, and at least one mountain more than twice as tall as Everest. It seems ideal for settlement. 7 days. February 19th, 1989.
Lesson 36. The cost of government. First listen, and then answer the following question. What is the most important factor, both in government or business, for keeping running costs low? If a nation is essentially disunited, it is left to the government to hold it together. This increases the expense of government and reduces, correspondingly, the amount of economic resources that could be used for developing the country. And it should not be forgotten how small those resources are in a poor and backward country. Where the cost of government is high, resources for development are correspondingly low. This may be illustrated by comparing the position of a nation with that of a private business enterprise. An enterprise has to incur certain costs and expenses in order to stay in business. For our purposes, we are concerned only with one kind of cost, the cost of managing and administering the business. Such administrative overheads in a business are analogous to the cost of government in a nation. The administrative overheads of a business are low to the extent that everyone working in the business can be trusted to behave in a way that best promotes the interests of the firm. If they can each be trusted to take such responsibilities and to exercise such initiative as falls within their sphere, then administrative overheads will be low. It will be low because it will be necessary to have only one man looking after each job, without having another man to check up on what he is doing, keep him in line, and report on him to someone else. But if no one can be trusted to act in a loyal and responsible manner towards his job, then the business will require armies of administrators, checkers, and foremen, and administrative overheads will rise correspondingly. As administrative overheads rise, so the earnings of the business after meeting the expense of administration will fall, and the business will have less money to distribute as dividends or invest directly in its future progress and development. It is precisely the same with a nation. To the extent that the people can be relied upon to behave in a loyal and responsible manner, the government does not require armies of police and civil servants to keep them in order. But if a nation is disunited, the government cannot be sure that the actions of the people will be in the interests of the nation, and it will have to watch, check, and control the people accordingly. A disunited nation, therefore, has to incur unduly high costs of government. Raymond Frost, The Backward Society.